Hello, folks.
Here we come, Cup. I think I'm going to X-nay that. It just sounds so much better with hello, folks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
I won't do it anymore. That was your last. Here we come, Cup.
No, I was giving you your moment in the sun, though.
Thanks. In the sun?
Yeah,
Spotlight.
Or the sun. The sunny spotlight.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of spotlight, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, we have a new light on us for today. Our lighting expert came in this week.
Shout out to Spruce.
Yeah.
We had our lighting expert come in and prepare us for our studio and some things that we're having to do inside of our studio here.
Yep.
In the
I
next
think it feels
bit.
cozy.
Yeah. So, crazy day today. I don't even know how to, because we're talking at a different time, obviously, than you guys are listening.
Yeah. So y'all know we do these on Sunday before they air on Monday because they come out at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
And so we obviously record them on Sundays. And while we're recording this, in just 2 hours, we are going to be drawing for our grand prize winner on our live event.
Yeah, and like we've been really hyping up this live event for a couple of weeks when we finally decided what we were going to do. And if you're listening to this and you were on,
then you know where we're going.
I hope everything went well. And we have no idea where we're going, but you do because you were on there. But in all seriousness, these little cafezinos, I hope that it ended up being very successful because it's something that we want to try to do. Maybe a couple of times a year, just to invite the whole redeemed marriage community together. So anyway, if you were on, thanks for being on. If you weren't and you missed it, then hopefully there's going to be another opportunity for you to be a part of a live event in the near future.
Yeah. And if you heard cafezinho and have no idea what we're talking about, that is the Portuguese word for little cup of coffee. And it's an invitation to come and sit with me and share coffee with me and share life and experiences. So that's why we named it that. We have a dear Brazilian friend who shared that with us. And so.
Yep. And the idea is that we want to be able to just continue offering marriage encouragement to people in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah.
We have a lot of resources. Obviously we really promote our podcast and our marriage coaching and then retreats, but we want to be able to support everybody out there.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're trying to learn how to be more involved on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, go check that out because Heather is becoming an expert.
I just put a great soccer one up just a few hours ago or an hour ago, and I've already had 2 people comment. I mean, they just commented, like messaged me and said, did you did this one or did Rusty? Because it was soccer related. I was like, it was all me.
Well, we're trying. We're trying to figure out how to reach the most people.
That's right.
And so we're working on that, and we're learning as we go, but it's fun. So today, it's been a crazy day, and the thing that makes it even crazier is the life stage that is quickly approaching.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to necessarily bog down too much in, our life stage because some of you're already in this life stage. Some of you may be quickly approaching it. Some of you are so far away from it.
Did you wish you were in this stage?
Maybe you do wish you were in this stage. But, we always want to try to be able to make what we're talking about be able to apply to every marriage. Yeah. And so if you don't already know this, and you probably do because we talk about it a lot, but our second and last child, because we only have 2, is heading off to college this week. So this is the week of the second honeymoon that we like to call it. Now, Heather, why don't you explain and tell them why we choose to say, everybody calls it empty nesting.
Yeah.
And we get it. But second honeymoon.
Well, I just think that empty nest has such a it could have a negative
and sad
feel to it. Yeah, that our home that we've pushed quite literally our birds out of
Right.
the nest, and that we now are empty, and that we're alone and all of that. And I just feel like that sounds sad and depressing.
Yeah.
So we came up with the second honeymoon stage because we're going back to how it was when when we started on our honeymoon. It's just us. Like how many ever hours it was after our wedding that we left the rehearsal. I mean,
The
reception. The reception.
The wedding?
Yeah, no, the reception. And started our journey together. Like, that's kind of how we are. Now, I will say that it is not as clean cut as that, because when we had our first honeymoon, we didn't have children even in our mind.
Right.
And so we realize that we're not
yeah.
cutting off our children, and we're
Right.
never going to think about them again.
We'll always be parents.
Right. But it's a way of life to where when I come home from work, or if we're planning dinner, or when you are whatever, when you come home from work, I'm just saying whatever event, when we pick up the remote control, it's just us.
Yeah.
Like those are the only things we have to worry about in planning dinner, and what we're doing after work, and what we're watching on TV, and when we go to bed and when we wake up. All of those little decisions for the foreseeable future are just us.
It's so weird.
It's weird.
It is weird. So I know. So people are listening, and there's some people that are going, "Oh
That
my
sounds
gosh,
like a
that
dream."
sounds amazing." And then there's some people that are like, "Oh my gosh, what are we
Yeah.
going to do when our kids leave?" And so really, I mean, that's where we are in life. And the thing that I want people to understand is our family. The four of us, we have two boys. We have a 22-year-old and we have an 18-year-old. And we are really, really close. And it's not like I'm closer to one or the other or both, or more, or, closer than Heather is, or she's closer than, I mean, we're just all really close. And the other thing that I want people to understand, and you guys know, because you probably listened to the podcast of our boys. We've had so many responses on that. And like,
If
they
you
are.
haven't,
Yeah, go back.
stop. I mean, don't stop. At the end of this one, go back and listen to it.
Because they are incredible young men. And so we haven't really dealt with that whole, oh my gosh, I'm just ready for them to get out of here.
Sure.
Like, and I mean, it was the way God orchestrated it to where, we had 4 or 5 years with Luke before Logan was born. And then Luke left and went way off to college. And so for 4 years, we've had just Logan. And it's been great just being able to connect with Logan in a way that we never really had, because we never had any alone time with him.
Well, he got all of the attention.
Yeah. And so it's just been, I mean, God just worked all that out beautifully. But I say all that because we're not in this season or stage of life to where we're like, oh, we got to get rid of these kids. I mean, they are, causing so much trouble, or we got to just get rid of them. It'd be best for them to be on their own. It's nothing like that. Like, we are all so close. And so we're going to miss having our family together, even in bits and pieces, tremendously.
Sure.
So, but here's what I want to throw out there first, and we can discuss it for a second. What do you think that we've done right? Now look, we could wad all this up and throw it out come Thursday because we really don't know how it's going to to down.
We may need to revisit this next week.
Yeah, we might have to be, hey, did y'all hear everything last week? Forget it.
Scratch that.
Scratch it. No, I think that there's people out there that are not at this stage yet. And we're not pros because we've only launched one, and we're about to launch the second one. There's people that are listening to this that you've already launched your kids. You're probably pros at this. We're in the midst of it. So I think being able to share that with people, I think everybody can relate to it, because there's some of you that are like, we're not there yet, but I would love to know how we can be prepared. And so I want us to just talk for a second on the things that maybe we have done marriage wise to prepare ourselves for what's coming up this week. You have any thoughts?
Yeah. I feel like this is just the prime example of you springing things on me.
Oh, yeah.
And never preparing me.
Get used to it.
So
it's just us.
I
I'm
know,
springing
that's
everything
right.
on
so
you
I
from now.
think that for me, the biggest thing that I can look and go, dang, I'm glad we did that well, was that we still are connected. Now, I will say, post infidelity has been 13 years, and we had 15 years before infidelity. So I don't think those first 15 years we did a very good job of this. But through infidelity and us having to fall in love with each other again, and you falling in love with a new me, and me falling in love with a version of you post trauma. I mean, that it's a different person. It's not like you needed to become somebody new, but you're somebody new because of that. So in these 13 years, we have been very intentional in connecting together and staying connected in ways that we find enjoyable about each other. So that when Luke left, of course, we still had Logan here that we were pouring into, but we also did have a lot more time, especially once he started driving.
Yeah.
It was, a lot more time, just me and you. And it wasn't like, well, crap, what are we going to do now? It was like, okay, I still enjoy being with you. So I think that we did that well. Now, when he leaves, we may go, ooh, we could have done a better job in this area or this area or that area. But I think that we are prepared as far as us being together and enjoying each other's company. I think we're going to be fine in that area.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we really enjoy being with each other. We truly do. The other thing is, I think that just the way that God has orchestrated the marriage ministry and things, we have this purpose together now too. And so, like, if you look at our calendar from now, I mean, we were talking about it today, but from now through November, which, I mean, it's going to almost be time for people to come home for Christmas. But from now through November, I mean, we're full.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on that we're going to be doing, marriage coaching, and we're going to a retreat. And obviously, we both have jobs outside of this, and we're traveling a couple of times. We're going on this double date that we've been planning or, promoting for all this time. So that's one of the things that I think that we were, maybe it was a little bit subconsciously or in the background, or God was just doing it for us or helping us. But we now have this purpose in marriage that's like once we are in this second honeymoon phase, we're not going, well, what are we going to do now? I mean, we're really, really busy, but busy in a way that it's under our control. Our schedule is under our control. The other thing that I think that we've done really well over even just the last few weeks is we've sort of communicated about it. And I will say that Heather needs to take credit for this because she's come to me and she said, hey, let's talk about this. And one of them is just her being able to admit and express that we handle grieving very differently. And, she came to me and said, look, there's going to be emotions and a grieving process. And as I'm doing that, I don't want you to think that I'm not excited about being with you. And that meant so much to me. Like, not just because it helped me to go, okay, I need to be really sensitive to the way that you're grieving, but just hey, I'm really excited about this next stage. And the sadness and emotions, don't discount that.
Right.
And I think that was really important.
Yeah. I just wanted to feel free. I mean, I just remember when we dropped off Luke, of course, he was 10 hours away and it was during COVID, but I cried for most of the way home.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first. He was so far away. The fear of the unknown with COVID. I cried. And I just could imagine myself leaving Sanford 3.5 hours away, leaving Logan, and being emotional, and you thinking, well, dang, she doesn't even want to go home with just me. And that's not it.
Right.
And so I just wanted to make sure that you knew that, yes, it's sad. I mean, this is 22 years that we have poured into these two boys.
For sure.
And it's not that that's over. We'll continue to pour into them, but it's going to look completely different. And I think I was talking to my best friend this week, and it was like, because she has a child going off to college too, except it's her oldest. And we were talking about how we're just going to miss the little moments of experiencing things that we experience because they're in our home. So like, how was your day? Of course we can send a text and say, how was your day? But when they come in from school and they're talking about their day, it's completely different than just sending a text and saying, how was your day? Or calling and saying, how was your day? Or, getting ready, watching them get ready for a date, or, hearing about that day. Like, it's just things that are the regular things of life that are just going to be different. So the reason why I say that is because the regular routine, the regular rhythm of our day is going to look different than it's looked ever. Because even though, yes, we're going back to that second honeymoon stage, we still have children in our minds that we're thinking about.
Yeah, and they're still our responsibility.
Sure.
I mean, it's not like all of a sudden we just go, oh, hey, they don't cost us any money anymore, so we can do whatever we want to with our money, or we can go on whatever trip we want to, that's...
They didn't disappear.
Right. So it's this weird, it's just a weird transition.
It is.
But I do think that because of our preparation and because we have communicated well, we've really stayed connected. We love each other. We love the purpose that God has for us right now collectively. We're as prepared as you can be, while at the same time knowing that we're going to be really sad. Yeah. Okay, let's shift for just a second. You were kind of starting to go in this direction, but what do you see as the challenges?
I think that one challenge is going to be that because we have spent so much time with our four family and their friends' parents because of who they're with, I think one challenge is going to be friendships. You have said over and over that I'm your best friend and that's how it's supposed to be, and you're right. Like, you're my person. And I'm your person, and that's how it's supposed to be. But I also think that we are going to have to make sure that we have friendships outside of us, because we can't just be with us all of the time. And we've had outlets with our boys and going and doing things with them. But, I do. I mean, I think that God's put some sweet friends in my life that I get to journey with and kind of do life with. And I may get to pour into them a little bit more than I have been able to because of the time frame. Right. And some of them have younger children that, I could help love on them and support them. And, I have a niece that's still in high school, and, my best friend has 4 kids. And so there's ways that I think that I'm going to be able to pour into friendships a little bit more. And I think that that's going to be a challenge, because I feel like it's going to be easy to kind of sit back and go, oh, our duty is done, and kind of really dig into this marriage ministry, which I'm super, super thrilled about and excited for. And so, but I think that that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, is to be purposeful. My Penny, my mentor, has always said that you don't close the book on one chapter and then never open another book. It's like, what's next? What's next for us? And if I'm sitting on the sofa playing on my phone, playing games all day or watching TV all day, that's not God honoring. Like, how am I going to invest in someone else. Now, of course, we are pouring and investing in what we're doing right here. But I also think that God is going to put people in our paths. And I'm just praying that my eyes will be open to that I will be ready to step into a need, if there is one, and that we can enjoy doing life with people that God has put in our path at church or whatever over the last few months, that it's like, hey, I know this book is closing or this chapter's, you're turning the page, but here's a new one.
Yeah. No, I like that. And I've thought about that too. I have actually thought about just on, yes, as it being a challenge, but also the freedom of now us really being able to turn more of our investment to other people, and not that we're not investing in our kids, like you said, but we just don't have those time constraints.
Right.
And so, I was even thinking today when we were looking at all of the people that had submitted a question, and there were so many people from, that were local and Mississippi people. And I was like, I mean, we could go out with those people. Like, if you're listening and we didn't draw your name, just call us and invite us out on a date.
There.
We'll go on a double date with you because you're local.
That's right.
But no, seriously, I mean, those are people that.
And if you're not local, pay to get us to
There
you,
you
and
go.
we'll buy the meal. It's the travel that's so hard.
But that's fun. I mean, it'll be fun for us. It is a challenge, but you guys, some of you know us better than others, but I mean, I don't think there's really any danger or any threat of us sitting on the couch and playing with our phones all the time.
Right.
But probably the opposite. Just like I said, I mean, our next 3 or 4 months are already jammed with stuff, which is awesome. I think, and I've told you this, that because our schedules are really different, mine and yours, my challenge is going to be, going back to that empty word, the house is going to be a lot more empty with me in it because, most people know my summers are extremely busy, really from April through July, or like,
and there's no working at home during that time.
Yeah, and I'm never at home. But the rest of the year, I have a flexible schedule where I do go to the office, but it's, I can go whenever I want to. And so much of that was based on Logan's schedule because I wanted to be here with him before he went to school in the morning. And I would help with breakfast and then get him off to school. And then I would head to the office. And then, I'd go watch him at soccer practice sometimes, or I would make sure I was home when he came home. And it's like, he ain't here.
Yeah.
I mean, and you kind of have your set time.
Sure.
You leave, you come back home, and
that's good. I mean, that's true. Not that's good. That's true.
So that's gonna be a challenge for me. Look, I mean, like, real talk. Like, we discussed a challenge yesterday.
Gonna say the sex question?
No, but I mean, people, I don't know that people think about stuff like that.
Let me just say, first of all, before we talk about the sex question, when something comes into my head that I'm like, how are we going to deal with this? Used to, I would just bury it and be like, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. But I called it a heart talk, but it ended up not being a heart talk, which was fine because we had some discussion about it.
And I asked, I was like, can we just talk about this for a little bit?
Yeah. But I mean, can I just tell the question? Or is that too much info?
No.
Okay,
I mean,
so you guys who know you have teenagers, it's hard to find times to be intimate.
Yeah.
When you have teenagers, because they're not like, oh, you put the little toddlers to bed and they stay there until 8.
Which those people are probably going, oh, yeah, like that ever happens.
Well,
I mean,
that's true.
There's no time to find it then either. I mean, but for 22 years, it's been a challenge.
Yes. Of like, oh, and now that, he's driving, it's like, oh, wait, is he coming home? Where is he? What if he walks in? What if he's in, I mean, it's just this not constant, but you just always have to be thinking about
constant, because it's always on your mind. It's just constant.
Times that I've said, hey, he's not here. Let's have a quickie or whatever, And so, but what my question to you was, now I feel like once he's gone, like we could do that anytime that we wanted to. Now, someone like you, you're like, yippee skippy hip hip hooray. And I feel like that's going to put a lot of pressure on me, because I'm going to be like, wait, nobody's here to say, oh, we can't do this right now because somebody's home. And so there aren't just like already made moments
Right.
where it makes sense to
Right.
have sex.
Well, we just talked about how there's been just this rhythm of, when you kind of make time for that.
Right,
And there's
right.
been, for 22 years, there's been this rhythm of you find
That's true.
time. And we preach that to
That's
people.
right.
We're like,
That's
you
right.
find time.
Yeah. So then what do you do when it's
you don't have to find time anymore.
Because when you go back to that first honeymoon stage, I mean,
Just all the time. Right.
But then now, and I mean, yes, there will be some more freedom in that, and it will probably happen more often than it did because we aren't in those time constraints. But also, I want to be able to sit down on the sofa with you and enjoy a movie without thinking, well, nobody's here, so he's automatically going to think we're
Right,
going to have
right.
sex.
Yep.
So it's just things like that here's what I want you to hear. Those things are okay. It's okay to have those feelings, even if you're not fixing to be a second honeymooner. I mean, like, it's okay to have the feelings that we're having on different topics. Talk about them.
Yeah.
Like,
for
just
sure.
say, hey, can we talk about this? It started as a heart talk because I just wanted you to know my heart and my fear. But then you were like, hey, is it okay if we talk about
Yeah.
it? And
because I was like, oh, I've had those thoughts
and I
too.
didn't think you had. I
Right.
thought I'm the only one that thinks about it. And he's going to think, great, she's never going to want to have sex because she's having this conversation. But you didn't take it that way. And you were very open to my thoughts. And you were like, yeah, I mean, I get it. And one of my favorite things that you say is, I understand that you feel that way. You're not saying, I understand why you feel that way. You're not saying, I understand the reasoning behind you feeling that way. It is, I understand that those are your feelings.
Yep.
And that is just so validating that even if my feelings don't make sense to you, even if my fear does not make sense to you, that you are saying, I understand that that is how you are feeling. Now let's talk through it. Let's work through it. Let's come up with solutions, you know. And so I just loved that you did that. But I think that there are going to be challenges like that we don't even know are coming our way, that we're going to go, oh, hey, I mean, I think about the dumb things like cooking. How you cook for two people?
Yeah.
I've been cooking for two teenage boys
I know.
for 22 years.
No, I thought,
I mean, obviously they hadn't been teenagers for 22 years, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought of it too, because it's like, how many times is it just going to be so much easier for us to just go, oh, let's just pick something
I
up. We don't
know,
have to
and
cook
then
for
it'll
two
be
people.
awful because
Yeah.
we'll be 800 pounds.
Yeah, so there's just stuff that we're going to have to learn. But I also, when I think about those things, they don't scare me. They're more exciting. Like, oh, we're gonna figure this out
Right.
together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We were not there 13 years ago.
No.
If we had hit the empty nest stage
Yep.
13 years ago, we would have been in trouble.
And we probably would have ended because our hearts weren't in the right place. We would have ended, and I don't want to say we would have ended in divorce, but we would have had a lot to work through and a lot. Like, I'm just thankful that we're not 27 years into marriage and I'm not scared about the rest of our
Yeah.
marriage
Yeah.
or the rest of our life together. Like, I'm excited for it. And is there going to be moments of grief? Absolutely. Is there going to be times when I look back at sweet pictures of my boys and think, how is that gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be times like that. But I also know that there's even better times coming. And I tell people all the time, the stages get better and better, and they do.
And they do.
They're
I mean,
sweet.
yeah.
I mean,
And both of our boys, have girlfriends now, and we love being a part of those relationships. And it is.
encouraging
It's just,
them and hanging out with them. And it's just fun.
yeah. And then there'll be another stage that comes along when they get married, and then there'll be another stage that comes along when they have kids, and it's just part of
Just
life.
rest in this stage for a while.
Yeah, it'd be good. That'll be fine. We'll just stay. This is fine. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Let's
And we were talking to my parents today at lunch, and we were talking about how me and my sister both stayed in Mississippi, went to school here, our families are here, and how they've just had us all this time. I'm not sure that's going to be the case for us.
It's not, and but I think it's so crazy how God prepares us for that, because I was the same way. I've stayed, my parents are in town, and we've we've just stayed here. But I don't think that we necessarily ever really wished that for our kids, because that's what we did. Not that, it's been great and it's turned out great, but we've also had this, it was probably an opposite of trying to keep them here.
Sure.
It was more of, hey, you can stay, but you're also more than welcome to, because we want them. It's like the whole, pulling the arrow out of the quiver. And you launch it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to launch it. And I feel like we've done that with both of our boys, and we should be really, really proud of that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this next stage okay and exciting and fun.
Yep. It does.
All
We're going
right.
to be fine.
Of course we are.
We're going to be fine.
We still want you to call us for a double date.
Yes.
And-
Yeah, call us for a double date. Just get us there. We'll pay for your food. And we've got to make sure that I don't eat Fruit Loops every night for supper.
Yeah.
I love to eat Fruit Loops for supper, but it's not good for me. I need to learn to cook for two. Hey, maybe we could look into some of those dinners, where they deliver them to you. Not DoorDash, but
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
the meals.
Right.
Where and it says for two, and you just chef it up for two people.
We'll see. We got a lot. We got a lot.
We got a lot to figure out. It's going to be fine. My friend says, it's fine. It's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine.
I don't
we're
know.
going to figure it out.
We're going to get several weeks into this and go,
It might
maybe
be
it is
ideal.
Maybe it is ideal. Look, we already know the exact times that we're going to get to see Logan again over the next few weeks. And even God put that together and sent us off on a journey in a few weeks to a retreat. And so we're just, it's
gonna be fine.
It's great. So I hope you guys have enjoyed just getting into our life a little bit. A lot of stuff happening. We have some space for marriage coaching.
Yeah, some.
Marriage coaching has
Fill
been
us
great.
up. We need it.
Yeah, that's the
time.
beauty of this.
Yeah.
The reason why we probably still have some, because we've started with some new couples, plus some couples that we've been working with, doing some follow-up and stuff, but we have more open nights because we don't have to worry about anybody else's schedule right now.
That's
so
right. After Thursday.
Yep. So check out, reach out to us, get our calendar. We can work
And
with
if you're listening to this when it comes out, pray for us on Thursday.
Yeah.
Lift us up.
That'd be awesome. Yep.
It's going to be emotional for sure, and exciting, and we'd appreciate the extra prayers.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Hey, by the way, this is Rusty and Heather Bryant. We never said that.
Oh, whoops. And
peace.